or whether it's at home, accidents can happen. I was talking about inducing customers to buy and all that. I think it's good advice to also share with them. Nobody can know when an accident will happen. So buy when is that if what is need to be convince him to buy is something that you can convince but you cannot force. But then there again is always the what you call the catchy, not the threat, but to inform him accidents can happen anytime, any day. There are plenty of cases, examples of cases of people thinking of buying, unfortunately didn't buy. Then when accident happened, the answer is should have bought. Too late already. So buy when you can. These are products that are very good for protection and effectively can cover here the liabilities as we live and we go from this world. So to me, as always, is important when we leave this world, we don't live around liabilities. We live for the living to continue living a life, not what you call lavish lifestyle, but a continuation of the standard lifestyle that is not liabilities left behind for the family to settle. Right? That's where insurance protection is about. Motorcyclist killed, 71 years old. Accidents 2 days in a row, Penang Bridge. These is all those are examples of accident. Case two, we have got dengue cases rising because in this product, dengue cases, death from dengue is also covered, but specifically for this part of the benefits of this product. Okay, we share with you, we go into detail as we fine comb the policy conditions to have a better understanding and looking at what are the covered benefits in this policy. Sinkhole. Now, Malaysia, sinkhole is not only in Malaysia. In Singapore, they had one quite recently when a car dived in. Lucky thing the lady was saved, but the car was already sinkhole. And then in Philippines, and even in Japan, happening everywhere with a sinkhole. Is for the example of this Masjid India KL case, the Indian lady, if you have seen the video clip or rather from the CCTV camera in the street, she was walking, suddenly just boom and disappeared. Now, the question is not only in Malaysia, anywhere in the world where we are. An example is if we are holidaying in the world, anything can happen. Tsunami, earthquake, collapsed building, all these things can happen. An accident has got no eyes, no race, no color. It happened, and it's just that some cases of it is when a person's time to go is to go, and it's due to accident, the PA policy will respond and compensate. If you look at people's not time to go, if you recall uh, the Boeing plane in India that took off, cannot take off and landed and banged into the building. Everybody died except one fella. It's not time for him to go, so he did not die. So those are the kind of situations where life is always never predictable. Life is, don't leave everything to chance. Chance means if it happened, it happened lah. If it didn't happen, it didn't happen. So if we are able to afford the kind of premium, don't have to say look for big plans to buy big sum insurance. A plan that is necessary and that the customer can afford, we can afford. That's the
Mr.
plan.
Wu,
Yes.
sorry for the interruption. Are you like presenting your slide because we can only see your screen but not the slide?
Huh? I'm already
Uh-uh.
on the slides.
It's not showing on the screen. It's just your Webex screen. It's presenting.
I'm sharing it already.
Maybe you can share again. Try to share again.
I stop sharing and share again.
Yes.
Can you see that?
It's not out yet. Maybe you can wait for a bit.
I've already sharing.
It doesn't appear. Or maybe you need me to share your slide. I can do that
Hang
if
on,
you.
huh?
Okay.
Is it okay?
Still, no, nothing.
You see the slides that you have, there were some minor errors. I've already amended the errors. And because I've got a link in, I cannot. Can you ask Alex to come in? He's out at the
Sure.
place.
Can. Give me a
Bear
few
with
minutes.
me, bear with us for a short while as we take this morning session was everything was okay. Now I don't know why I have got this thing. Is it okay now?
Can. Now I can see your slide. Maybe can
Now
you?
can you see this slide?
Yes.
Phase two, phase two.
Can everyone
Like,
see Mr. Khoo's slide? Please respond, everyone. Thank you.
dengue fever, dengue
Okay.
cases in Malaysia,
Yes, I can see already.
rail cases two, number two, rail cases number three. Is it okay?
Yes, it's fine now.
Okay, then we shall proceed. Thank you for Leah,
Yes.
because otherwise I'll be talking to the computer. Nobody tells me whether it's okay or not.
Yeah. All right, sure.
Okay, that's the purpose. Okay, case number four, we have got a case here, injury in accidents in highways and all that, tour bus. And if you look at the number of accidents on our roads, it's very scary. And a lot of these cases that you can look at it is some of them involving, many of them involving commercial vehicle, lorries flying over the divider, container lorries flying over the divider, bus load carrying students overturned in Greek and causing death to more than five and six and all that kind of thing. And
Mr. Khoo,
recently,
sorry again for the interruption. Are you talking about the case number 4 or case number 3? Because our screen show real case 3.
very slow. Then I'm already on four.
I think it's not moving. Wait, let me get Alex to help you.
Are you still on the number four? Can you see number four, real case number four?
No, it's at number 3, real case 3.
Stuck in three.
Yeah.
I'm able to
Yeah,
move.
secondary.
Maybe can share. Sometimes like that one.
Okay, I'll try again to reshare. Stop sharing and
Share again the screen. Move the slide. Which what one you function? Which you drop so click the other one. Which simulate and share that screen. Oh, oh, let's see. Where's the Webex? Oh,
Now
Is it
we can
moving?
hear. Yes,
Yes,
it's moving.
it's moving.
5.
Yeah, now can see.
Now can see. Thank you very much. Back with us, orang tua macam ni lah, ada sikit tak betul lah. Okay, we are looking at this kind of accidents everywhere and all that, but then there again, not only on the road, anywhere that we are in, even walking down the staircase, there are cases where people do not, they fall in the sinkhole, not in the sinkhole, but in a manhole also died because he fell and slipped through the manhole and hit the concrete and he died. These are things that accidents never predictable, all sudden. Tour bus, this one quite recently, and if you recall, just about 3 weeks ago, one of the lorry lost the brake control, smashed into the toll gate, and killed a people, the baby thrown out of the car, and smashing into the toll gate and all that. That was quite recent case. So these are the kind of accidents. For no whatever reason, the innocent party sitting there in the paying the toll gate get kena whack. Whenever can we predict such a thing? So out of that question, the commercial lorries are, a lot of them are what they call the cause of accidents and all that. So the question about that particular toll gate incident is, why is the lorry on the right lane of the toll gate? Shouldn't it be on the left? Why is it in the right side of the toll gate? Questions unanswered. So accidents prove a point. These are all accidents can happen anywhere. And in Malaysia, among the highest in terms of road accidents. Every season that comes, every festive season that comes, the government police keep track of the number of accidents, fatalities, and all that. So this is actually a waste of resources. Number 5, snatch theft. Again, snatch theft also is another case here. You're looking at case 5, confirm? Snatch theft, severely injured by motorcyclists who grabbed the handbag and snatched it and died and all this kind of thing. It happens, especially poor thing, 78 years old. The question is 78 years old, is he covered in the policy up to age limit? Probably the scenario of this policy is up to 70 but renew up to 100. So that will become the part of eligibility. You look into the policy in detail, looking at the age of this particular case, 78, is he still covered? Of course, if he's first time buying, he can never get the cover because he's already out of the eligibility age limit. But if it's on renewal, then he will be on 71 to 100 renewal. Sad cases of motorcycle accidents, snatch theft is one of the severity of it. It's a great product. This is the product, my friend. If you recall, get hold of a copy of this brochure. It will be good if you can lay your hands on one of the brochure now, and at least you have a better understanding of the features on this product. Everything great. And of course, benefits. And then we look at we have a share of this. GE is having this campaign for 117th year from founding. Now, 117 spells the number of years this GE has been around. It actually projects as a very strong financial institution, a very strong company, a very strong in terms of services and so forth. So they're having a campaign this year for the period up to 31st of January. I think it's August something. So we will touch a little bit on that. Protect the lifestyle, healthy lifestyle as well, looking at number of days. Entry age, we call it eligibility of the age in the policy that the people can buy from 30 days to 70 years old. 30 days means from after birth, in the 30 days, you can purchase this plan, it's a PA plan. The question is why people may say, why you have to encourage to buy when it's still a baby? The fact is, he's still alive. He still need a PA. The recent case about that a Tokyo incident that a toddler was thrown out of the car in an accident. We hear a lot of things, and one of those issues is a toddler, young 2-3 years old. they usually must have a child seat. Child seat is the best protection. But then there again, in the accident, anything can happen, the worst case scenario. So from a baby of 30 years old up to 70 years old and renew up to 100. So you can see the span of the years, how good this product is. Most of the other products, PA products in this market, most of them would say maybe from 7 years old start when you can buy, or from 12 years old onwards. So this product, eligible age 30 days up to 70 and renewable up to 100. This is now we're doing an overview of the product. Post-hospitalization supplement benefits. In short, supplement means what? Supplement means vitamins, multivitamins, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin M. All these are the post-hospital. There's also a benefit that provide for this. ATM withdrawal in the process, snatch or robbed while ATM, while drawing money from ATM machine. Personal liability, this is the part where you talk about legal liability for the person negligence to cause injury or property damage to third-party people. Inconvenience allowance, we look at that. Is an allowance given for whatever the intention of the inconvenience allowance. Double or triple indemnity for public conveyance or public sports event. We look at it. We look at what is public conveyance, because it means public conveyance. It means public conveyance. What is public conveyance? To define this double indemnity or triple indemnity for death and permanent disablement. And then renewal bonus up to 100%, 5% every year increase in renewal bonus. Terrorism coverage for accidental death and permanent disablement. Now, when we look at terrorism by and large, it is usually declared by the country government, not you and me to determine, or insurer to determine whether it's terrorism or not. So this is very much terrorism is declared by the government. Mosquito bite, death due to mosquito bite, this benefit there in the policy. Now, if there is no specifically mentioned, mosquito don't kill people. It's the virus that they carry that cause the injury. For example, dengue fever, Aedes mosquito is the mosquito that carries this virus. And if this mosquito, Aedes mosquito bite, and it is not a carrier of the virus for dengue, then it's no issue. Mosquito can't kill people. It is the virus. Example, the other one is malaria, and what do you call is Anopheles mosquito, that name of the mosquito that carry the virus malaria that kill. Malaria is the disease that kill. But in this particular Great Shield Active PA policy, it provides a section of benefit that covers this. Otherwise, this is never covered in a PA policy. Specifically mentioned that then is covered. We'll look at that and the detail as we dive deeper into the policy and the product. Personal effects, loss of personal effects due to snatch theft and all this, part and parcel of it, because in most instances of snatch theft, the lady's handbag will contain everything from the household keys to his gold ring to his diamond rings, whatever, handbag, everything is inside there. Okay, loss of personal effects. We'll look at that as we move along to the cover. As usual, any questions, just feel free to ask. We are now going to go into the schedule of benefits. Are you following me? We are looking at schedule of benefits now, Aliyah.
Yes, correct.
Thank
Yes, yes.
you. There are altogether 7 plans in this product policy. Plan 1 to 7, and the sum insured, capital sum insured is there for accidental death. The plan 1, plan 2, plan 3 has moved on. 7 plans to choose from. Okay. Of course, depending on the occupation of the proposer, whether it's class 1 and class 2 occupation or class 3. Class 3, the limitation is plan 1 to 3 only. That is the thing, but it's still big enough to look at it. Plan 3 is 280,000 death and permanent disablement. Medical expenses across the board of 7 plans, it is only up to a limit of 5,000 ringgit, which technically is small. And this is an area you should cross-sell, upsell a medical product, individual medical product. Because in the context of an accident, depending on the severity of the accident, medical bills anytime will exceed the $5,000 limit. But then there again, this $5,000 limit can take care of a lot of smaller, lesser severe accident result. Example, severe cut in the hand while doing kitchen or scaling of water, or for that fact, a fracture, minor fracture in the toe, or things. Major fractures, then you will also exceed the 5,000 limit. Medical expenses will provide for that. Then we have the double indemnity and triple indemnity, public conveyance, and double the payout, except for any act of terrorism where the payout will be the capital sum insured only. In short, double indemnity and triple indemnities, these two benefit side does not apply if it is the exact of the terrorism or not defined as public conveyance. It is only, it does not mean the policy don't cover. It means the policy covers, but only at the capital sum insured, the amount. And then due to terrorism, there's a capital, you can see the plan's benefits is the same as what you see on the death and permanent disablement. In short, this is the amount payable. This is the amount payable and exclude nuclear, chemical, and biological terrorism. Now, this is specifically the use of nuclear, the use of chemical or biological terrorism. So, this magnitude of it is not covered. Renewal bonus 5%. Mosquito bite, the sum insured is shown there, okay? So mosquito bite, we'll look at the details. This is the benefits. Then we look at the exact wordings on the benefit side. Then you have your ATM withdrawal. It says here 4 incident per policy year, 1,000 ringgit, up to 1,000 ringgit. So if an insured were to have 4 times claiming under this, I think very unlucky for the person, or whether there's an issue of moral. Ambulance fees up to 500 ringgit to and from hospital. Hospital income per day, maximum up to 30 days. Hospital income in short means while hospitalized per day in the hospital per day is 100 ringgit. So if it's hospitalized for 1 week, it's 7 days. So it's 700 ringgit will be taken as an paid as an income, or maybe you call it an allowance. Then you got the supplements. We talked about it earlier. Supplements, vitamins and whatnot. Not cosmetic products, but vitamins that supplement the body, whether it's A, B, what kind of vitamins, multivites, minerals, and so forth. That is intention is to provide some form of supplementing the recovery from the injury. Up to 500 ringgit per accident. I think 500 ringgit can buy a lot of multivitamins, omega-3, and whatnot that is going on. Inconvenience allowance per accident. Per accident means in the whole year, in the whole year of the policy, like we had the first one, ATM, per policy year means the duration of the policy. Per accident means 1 year can have 3-4 accidents. And each accident, he may be hospitalized for a short period. Inconvenience allowance, you look at it, 500 per accident. And then loss of personal effects, snatch theft, effects due to snatch theft, things like watches, gold, handphones, mobile equipment, whatnot that is being snatched away together. Prosthesis, wheelchair per accident that gives permanent disablement. Up to, and the miss is to purchase this prosthesis, can be a artificial arm, can be an artificial leg or wheelchair. Bereavement allowance is just, in Cantonese we say like pakam, up to 5,000 ringgit. So it is there. Personal liability per claim, legally liable for third-party bodily injuries and property damage up to a limit of $1 million. This will be inclusive of compensation if found legally liable and legal fees, the engagement of lawyers that look at handling the case for you. But in the context of this is where notification to insurance companies is of utmost importance, that any incident that may give rise to a third party personal liability claim. You follow? You okay? Hello? Everybody okay?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Because now 2 something 3 o'clock, the blood rushed down from the head to the stomach, and everybody also want to sleep like that. Please help me. Okay. Now this part is what we call optional benefit. Optional benefit 1 is weekly benefit. Weekly benefit by and large it simply means for temporary total disablement, temporary partial disablement. After an accident, maybe for example, motorcycle accident, and then the doctor in the process after the accident, he said, for 3 weeks cannot work. So if you work out to be 3 weeks cannot work, so every week is $100 for 3 weeks. So there are cases where my motorcycle accident, he put there 6 weeks or 9 weeks cannot work. So it becomes the amount of multiple. And then you have temporary partially can work, that would be partial disablement. So it will work out to be amount. This is the part where when we look at the policy last time, it is a lot, give rise to a lot of claim and also give rise to some of this exaggerated or the accident is real, but exaggerated claims means if the doctor say, usually the scenario is the patient, doctor asks, how many weeks you want me to write? Okay lah, please write 6 weeks. So it's 6 weeks times 100, you get $600. But where his income will be still continue. Weekly benefit in that nature. This is a section of partial disability for a certain number of weeks, maximum up to 60 weeks. This one you have to pay additional premium to pay this optional benefit. Now, I think of more importance here is motorcycling extension. Now, he says simply, that means this product active this does not cover, standard policy does not cover motorcycling. Whether as a pillion rider, whether as a rider of motorcycle, is not covered motorcycling activities. So you have to have this extension. And in the event of accident due to motorcycle accident death, this is the amount of the claim. You can choose to pay optional benefit to whichever you select, 1 or 2, to determine the benefit options. And I would say very important is to have motorcycling extension. Any questions so far? Now, this is the premium relating to with and without medical, without the optional benefit. If without weekly, with weekly, how much is the premium that you can see? Plan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you notice for class occupation, class 3 means the hazardous nature of work. Then the limit is plan 1, 2, and 3 is the available plan to purchase. You notice the premium may seem to be high, but if you look at it in collaboration with the number of 365 days, it's not that expensive. It's definitely even cheaper than a packet of cigarette a day. Then the second optional benefit, annual premium with weekly, and you look at the one without weekly. So in short, if you look at plan one, that is plan one, the 80,000 capital sum insured, $160, and with the benefit of weekly 211. So you're looking at 50 over ringgit difference for that weekly. So it's kind of expensive. But then therefore the premium relates to annual premium, whereas the accident amount, accident under weekly, it relates to per accident basis. Motorcycling, class 1 and 2, the premium is very much lesser. So inclusion of motorcycling is important. And if you move on from the higher plans, from the lower plans, the first plan 1 is only $24.45 for things is very reasonable. As you move on to the high plan end of plan number 7, this relates to people who are high net worth income, the richer bracket, that actually have activities of riding big bikes. This is where it's important to have this extension. Any observations, any questions onto the overview of this product? Anything anybody want to share? Afternoon session very quiet compared to morning session. Leah, any questions on the board?
No,
No,
none
none
from
from
the
the
chat box.
chat box.
Not everybody still very afternoon yet, siesta in the afternoon. I
No,
think.
no, we are concerned. Listen, you.
Come again. Hello.
Listen, you.
Huh? What's the name, please?
Listening, you.
Except me.
Money Sagar Agency.
Yeah. What's the name, please?
Money Sagar, Money Sagar.
What's your name, please? I can't hear clearly. Is it Anna?
Yeah, Money Sagar.
Okay, Anna. Happy Diwali.
Thank you.
Speak to me, talk to me, anything you want. Cholet ya, cholet dah.
We don't have
We don't have a.
we can't snap.
We can't snap,
Snap what? How do you snap?
Can
You can
Can
nap, but you can't snap.
screenshot.
screenshot,
So
screenshot. So can I have brochure?
I can't make out that.
leaflet for the
Leaflet for the accident.
Huh? The brochure of this product?
yes.
Yes.
The brochure of this product is in hand. You can have this brochure, or for that fact, you can even go into the website to look out for details of this product as well. The product disclosure sheet is also available. Very important part of it that you earlier, Aliyah shared with you about product disclosure sheet to the customer. Now, this is all available information. Any more observations? Any more comments? Please feel free. Help me. Otherwise, I'm going to sleep also. Now, if there's nothing, I will go the train will ride faster without stops. That means to say we call it a faster, we finish early, go home lah. Okay ah? Since it's silence, then with consent ah. Now we're going to go into this particular part, policy wordings, definitions, terms and conditions and exclusions from the policy wording. You know, in all brochures, if you notice all brochures, they say for full terms and conditions, please refer to the policy jacket, correct? Policy wordings and all that. For full terms of conditions or exclusions, please refer to the policy. They will put that in the brochure that you look at, because only then you can tell the wordings of the policies. We're going to look at some of these things on definitions of what an accident, definitions of permanent disablement, definitions of all the benefits that are shown there, terms and conditions of the policy, exclusions. Now, I would like to reiterate to you all, a policy is merely a contract of insurance, between the insured name in the policy and GE as the company. Okay, like any other contract, similarly to tenancy agreement, HP agreement, there are terms and conditions in the policy, and this is the no difference, any contract, and it's enforceable in the court of law between that, and everything is stated there. And I've always maintained and strongly say that insurance policy very fair one, don't cheat people one. What happened? Did this happen, the policy will pay. If this happened, the policy won't pay. If this condition pay, this condition don't pay. It is very clearly written in the policy. The only hiccup, I won't say anything else, hiccup is don't read the policy. And the other weakness of people is I hear it very often said especially in coffee shop talk. People say cover, people say no cover. But I want you to understand, anything that is covered or not covered, please go into that specific policy. In this context, this is the policy, this is the terms and condition, and this is what is covered and what is not covered. Okay? No two policy is the same condition. No two policy provide the same type of cover. So I can only say that any clarification, any things not clear, pull out the policy, read it, understand it. That's what it's all about. A contract of insurance. The policy is only an evidence of a contract of insurance between the insured and the insurance company. So this is the product, Great Active Shield. Great Shield Active. That's why you see, afternoon session words also the brain and the mind read differently. Where am I gone to? Now I'm going to share with you what exactly is in the policy wording. Okay, what exactly is the policy wording? This is the policy and this is the product. The policy that is for Great Shield Active Personal Accident Policy. And on the right side, you will see the stamp duty paid, the $10 stamp duty. The purpose of it is legalize the contract in the court of law. If it is that you any disputes in this policy agreement, doing that any disputes can be taken up to the court to determine the dispute. Now I'll go through this policy. When I have highlighted which one I want to talk about, but if you by chance you are still with me and you see something that you need to clarify, please raise it up, tell me that I can then spend the time to try to explain my best to you. Would that be okay? Silence means okay lah. Consumer insurance contract, because this is an individual product, is unrelated to the insured's business, his personal life. This is personal on himself because he's insuring his own life. So this is related information about himself. This one will be what you call consumer insurance contract under the Financial Services Act, relates to utmost good faith. The faith that the person declare in the proposal form for the insurance company to consider and acceptance or not and things so forth. So this is the proposal form becomes an integral part of the policy where the declaration about full disclosures and disclosures given shall be part and parcel, truthfully and faithfully declare in person, in total truth to the information. Things like questions asked in the proposal form. Have you suffered any disability? Have you have any physical disabilities and things like that? If the answer is yes, then you have to answer and provide details for the insurance company to determine whether to accept, and if so, at what's the premium to be charged and things like that. So in all these contexts about this product, the information is looking for, most of the time looking for no answer. That means a standard healthy person. Okay. Anything that is non-disclosure can make the policy null and void. That is the part. That is the part where once a policy is disclosed as null and void, then the policy will not pay. And that's if there's, of course, insured not happy can be taking up to court of law or taking up to Bank Negara for the dispute, or ombudsman in this context can go to ombudsman for dispute mediation and trying to work out the things. So in the context of insurance company, if they dispute and say the policy is void because of non-disclosure or intentionally withholding information that is relevant to this, I'll share with you later when we go into the policy jacket in detail. Okay, consumer insurance contract, unrelated to your trade, business, or profession. The next one is non-consumer insurance product. Contract relates to business or trade. For example, he's the boss of the company. He signs, he's insuring his fire and burglary, so that is his business. But if he's insuring himself on the PA, that is personal, and therefore there's an insurance contract. Information required that will relate to the trade or non-consumer insurance contract. These are terms used, and every policy in Malaysia will carry this notification insofar as things called utmost good faith, declaring truthfully all the disclosures necessary. And it says here, it's your duty, that means referring to the insured person, your duty not to make representation when answering the questions, confirming or amending which any matter relates to previously disclosed. So based on this information given, the company accepts and what to put the price of it. So if there's any fraud, element of exaggeration, or element of withholding information relating to his health, questions asked, and he said no, but later they find out, then the contract can be voided. And if it is voided, means no pay claim. This is for your understanding only, okay? Now, the important part here, now let's look at definition. In this context of this policy, what is the definition of accident? And all incidents of a claim, the first thing is to define what's the accident. Nature of the claim means sudden, unforeseen, and fortuitous external event happening during the period of insurance. Now, this is a very, very good term. The accident must be sudden. It's not planned or gradual. Unforeseen, nobody can exceed. And the fortuitous is an event by chance, unexpected happening. That is the meaning of that. So, for example, if a person is, say, having swallowed 12 Panadol because he's heart sick or love sick. I won't use the word heart sick. Love sick. Swallow 12 Panadol. That's an attempted suicide, which is not by chance. It is attempted suicide is not covered in the policy. So the defining moment of the accident shall determine whether the policy's liability is there or not. The other example is while driving, suddenly heart attack and died. Whether it's caused by accident or caused by accident or caused by heart attack. So the question is, again, comes up to medical evidence to prove that the person died of heart attack. Again, it's not an accident in that context. So very clear definition of an accident. If you once you know this, you will determine the nature and how a person passed away, died due to accident or not. That's the one thing. Clear or not? Then we got accidental death. Means any death that is due to an accident. Accident is defined and not from any natural causes or illness or sickness. Not from any natural causes. That's the definition of accidental death in this policy. Capital sum insured and things like that. So if you got any, when I scroll down, I go through this. If there's any area that you see that you wish to have any clarification, please let me know. Leah, look out for anything on the chat box.
Right, sure.
Okay, because the longer I speak, the longer I think I'm speaking alone to myself, speaking to the laptop only. I noticed this is quite common in all afternoon sessions.
I'm not very sure.
Thank you, sir. You are the one that is still around. I don't know whether the rest are still around.
அந்த
Capital sum insured shall mean the capital sum insured whatever plan that is bought, and then for accidental death and permanent disablement.
okay.
Now, this policy also got things like chiropractic, sinsay, bone setter, traditional treatment, and all that. You see, you was also spelled out. But of course, all these, even if it's for treatments, these are generally for minor bruise and conditions like that. Especially sprained ankle, you won't go to hospital. The hospital may only strap sprained ankle. A lot of people will go and visit the traditional treatment style, the TCM or bone setter or chiropractic. But each time these are treatments will require, the policy will require registered uh, medical, registered chiropractic, and all this must be registered and legal. Claimant shall mean the insured or insured person. Now, the policy, in this kind of policy, it can mean the insured and the insured person is two different things. The insured is maybe the wife. There must be insurable interest between the family, insurable interest. The company on the life of the staff. The company is the insured. The insured person is the staff employee name. There is insurable interest. In all context and purpose, part of, beside being, every PA policy important to have a nomination form. In the other context, which is good, also equally good, is insuring on the life of the husband, or the husband on the life of the wife. So in the event of any incident of claims, the policy claims shall be paid to the name insured. So it's a very faster way of method to alleviate the claims settlement method, unless otherwise you will be bogged down by a lot of necessary legal matter, especially if it is a death claim. Of course, the nomination form comes in as well, if it is there. So the insured may be the policy holder. The insured person may be another person. This morning, somebody asked me about what is this legal personal representative. It can be the nominee, it can be his next of kin, it can be the person who holds the will, named in the will, and things like that. If it is part and parcel of it, legal personal representative. So, living it's always good, advisable, and best practice. Do not leave this unattended to when a person pass away. We leave behind liabilities. Try not to leave behind liabilities. Leave behind inconvenience. Try not to do that. And we all live and let live in this world, or we leave this world, is to ensure that our living family, next of kin, are in a way taken care of. Dental treatment shall mean dental treatment arising from accident and not the usual dental treatment, crowning la, scaling la, and all this is not covered. Accidents only. But of course, you can't replace the teeth. If it is an accident, he fell and slipped and fell on the face, and all the front tooth all gone. So there is only towards the treatment of the gums and all that, but it's not to replace the teeth price and all that. No, even for the denture. Injuries solely and directly by an accident. Loss in reference to limbs means our hands and legs, shall mean physical severance or total and irrecoverable loss of use. Now, in the old days, or I would say old days, or my younger days, I mean, to look at it is there are policies, especially those early years policies, when you have a PA as a rider in the life policy. Some of these wordings use severance, Stop. Severance. Severance means that the hand or the leg must be detached from the body before they can pay the claim. That's very severe. Severance. But now the main thing is to look out for the word total and irrecoverable loss of use. So loss of use is also defined. That means totally and irrecoverable loss of use. The person hand or leg is already permanently disabled. That's what I mean by loss. So these are definitions in the policy, and what you have is total loss of use of hearing, loss of sight, loss of speech, and medical expenses. What is covered, what is all this is also defined here. Even to the fact medical practitioner, physician, or surgeon qualified by degree, Western medicine, and all this is qualified. Now let's look at the major part which I highlighted here. Permanent disablement shall mean an injury which falls any part of the injury listed in benefit 2 of the table of benefits. We look at the table of benefits shortly. Okay, permanent disablement. How do you classify this as permanent? Where applicable, have lasted for a continuous 12 months, continuous period of 365 days from the date of accident, with no hope to improve at the end of the period. After 12 months or 365 days, there is no chance the arm can recover. It is paralyzed in total. Then it will be classified as loss of use of the arm. And in short, then the payment of this permanent disablement compensation shall be deemed a percentage of what is shown in the schedule of benefits, table of benefits, percentage-wise. You okay? Pre-existing simply means, like in a medical policy, pre-existing is defined. Here too simply means a person is diagnosed or present symptoms would have require medical treatment, whether it's a physical deformity, already a physical or a certain amount of illness before the commencement. In short, a condition or a disability before he buys the policy is called pre-existing illness. pre-existing condition. Now, the important one is here called public conveyance. Now, I want you to understand here, this one relates to double and triple indemnity when we look at the benefits. It simply means what is public conveyance and what is public sports event. Public conveyance simply means any passenger carrying vehicle made or intended to travel on water, whether it's water, air, or land, operated by a carrier duly licensed, yes, provide regular transportation of fare-paying passengers, excluding all forms of chartered transportation, tour, or private arrangement. I can't hear you. Hello? Hello? The audio is a bit poor. If you got a question, maybe you can type it out so Aliyah can read to me. Public conveyance means public transport and exclude all form of chartered transportation. Chartered transportation simply means, for example, you go for a tour, the tour bus chartered. Okay, or you go by a plane, the whole plane is chartered. Or you go by a ferry, the chartered ferry. It's not public transport. So therefore, the double and triple indemnity does not apply. This only means to say if anything were to happen in such incidents, the policy will only pay the capital sum insured without the double indemnity, without the triple indemnity. So very important to understand this, as you need to explain. As a fare paying passenger, meaning to say like a ticket, you buy a ticket, you pay a taxi fare, you pay a Grab fare. These are public transport, any public convenient to walk in, LRT, MRT, all these are public transport. Okay. Excluding helicopters, any fully licensed standard aircraft, excluding helicopters. When you look at this excluding helicopters, please understand the air balloon thing is also not public transport. It doesn't mean it's not payable. It means the conveyance thing is not in the context of double and triple indemnity. Fare-paying passenger or an established air route which is known as common air carrier, excluding all form of chartered flights. Then also it will public conveyance shall mean that as elevator, electric lift, the lift that I come up to 18th floor, that is a public conveyance. The escalator as you take in the shopping mall, that is also part of public conveyance. So in short, public conveyance is defined very clearly. Public sports event very specifically only include Zumba, Qigong, Tai Chi, yoga, obstacle course, challenge, walkathon, marathon run, and half marathon run. So in the event of this participation as an amateur sports, as an amateur to take part in any of these activities in the public and arising out of it, take participation, the accidents happen, that is categorized for the purpose of double and triple indemnity. It happened before. There was a case where this one was a marathon or half marathon run, but this is a social event organized amateur, and one of the participants, a runner, was knocked by a car, and she suffered major injuries and paralyzed and something like that. So that's the event is deemed as public sports event. Personal effects shall mean clothing, toiletries, all these things, clothing, toiletries, a sling bag, backpack, handbag, jewelry, watch, cosmetic pack, shoe, hat, headscarf, scarf worn on an injured person mobile device, laptops, or any other technology device carried on by the insured person. You'll find all these things in the lady's handbag. Excuse me, I this is just a observation. The fact most of these things are personal effects, so it is part and parcel. So very common laptop handbag is a snatch theft. It is paid covered for the handbag, and this is under personal effects. Sum insured shall mean the capital sum insured inclusive of any renewal bonus. The renewal bonus shall be added in as sum insured. And then the defining next one is terrorism. Total exclusion is anything that involves the use of nuclear, biological, and chemical. Nuclear, that means chemical used by that is where this is not terrorism is very much only declared by the government of the day. Terrorism is an act of by any person or groups against public integrity. Here, total permanent disablement defining as injury, injured person being permanently bedridden or causing permanent disablement from gainful employment, certified by things, and no hope and beyond any hope of improvement or recovery. That means to say after 365 days, it's proven that the person cannot recover, then it will be categorized as permanent disablement. Because other than that, if it is permanent disabled, partial, temporary total disablement can be 6 months. After that, he can recover and back to his normal life. Use of nuclear weapons is always a standard exclusion in all policies. Eligibility. Who is eligible? A Malaysian citizen or a PR or a foreigner having a valid work permit or student visa in Malaysia. Very clear eligibility. Or a permanent PR and a student with a valid enforced visa, student visa, if you're talking about insuring student, during the period of insurance before a claim is payable. So in short, validity of the person is defined as eligible Malaysian citizens, locally residing in Malaysia, permanent resident of Malaysia, PR are not Malaysian resident, PR. So all these are eligible people to buy. At entry means to say first time buying, age not less than 30 days and not more than 70. So that's where the 30 days to the 70 years age, the entry age eligibility is. And then after 70, subject to company's satisfaction in the information provided, the policy may be renewed up to the insured's 100 years old. But of course, from 71 to 100, the benefits is at 50% of the schedule note. Why? Because as we age, our mobility, the risk becomes higher. Our body and everything is degenerating. It cannot regenerate. Degenerating, making us unstable, making us making short judgments of anticipation, reflex action, everything is slowed down. The machine getting old, so slowed down to a breakdown point. Maximum sum insured, maximum capital sum insured allowed for any one person. Entry age 30 to 15, this is the child bracket. Maximum is 280,000 means maximum plan 3 from 1, 2, and 3. And this is 61 to 70, maximum 380,000 is plan 4. So entry age, meaning to say when first buying. And then entry age from 16 to 60, Maximum is planned 1.38 million sum insured. Class 3 occupation is 280,000. Plan 1, 2, 3 for class 3 occupation. As you look at occupation risk is the main factor of determining what type of premium class 1, class 2, class 3. When we look at this occupation example is an executive working in a financial institution or any company doing administrative job, but he is also part-time graduate driver. Please declare in truth, in totality, and not only at the beginning of the policy, during the currency of the policy, if you find out, and you always good to advise the insured person or proposer that he need to declare if ever his occupation or activities that hobbies has increased in the risk. So in this context, he's also part-time grabbing driver, e-hailing driver. So you need to declare the premium would be higher, whether they put it as class 2 or class 3 or class 1 and 2 the same, then you have a loading factor because the risk is increased. So therefore, it is always good, must be informed to the insurance company. Okay, so now I would like to request to take a 10 minutes break before we continue, because we can then take time to have a tea break, water break, or toilet break. So before we break down. So is it okay, Elia?
Can.
Can I? Okay, thank you, Ne. The rest of you okay, Hello?
Yes.
Oh, thank God that finally I hear somebody speak. Elia, is that you?
Yes, it's me.
Oh my God, only you and me in our presence. Anyway, things continue, we will just proceed. Maximum sum insured we talked about, and this is what you look at. Now, schedule of benefits. This is exactly what is in the policy, the schedule of benefits. Just now I touched on overview on the product, and we look at it now is from here. Very clear, that and permanent disablement 1 and 2. So if you look at number, look at the number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are altogether 17 in this policy, 17 benefits. When you look at it, the benefit. Then permanent death and permanent disablement. And then number 3 is medical expenses across all 7 plans is up to a limit of 5,000, reimbursement up to a limit of 5,000 due to accidents, and also including the dengue and the virus things. Now, 5,000 may not be sufficient for a PA. So medical expenses in a PA product is generally low. It's good that you cross-sell, supplement it with an individual medical policy for the insured, because the medical policy covers sickness as well as due to accident injuries. Then we touch on double indemnity, and the policy is very clear, except act of terrorism where the payout will be the capital sum insured. Okay? Same thing with permanent disablement. That means the insured person did not die, but is permanently disabled. So it's 3 times. Simple example I'm going to cite to you is a simple example that is traveling. For example, we know there's a couple of plane crash on people, and even the Singapore airline had a massive air turbulence injury. Now, for example, if the insured is traveling in that plane and they met with a massive air turbulence, and the air is thrown, injuries may be minor, some may be serious, and accordingly, one of the passengers had a permanent disablement. He was thrown up and his head crashed against the ceiling, and resulting in, I think, some spinal injury. That is triple indemnity. And in the case of plane crash, like the one in India, and like the similar cases where the Air Asia some years ago had a 737 MAX that crashed in In Indonesia, that is a public conveyance. And if that's a place, double indemnity for death, can you imagine the amount of payout from a policy, from policies, insurance policy, if he has also taken another travel insurance policy? This policy on an annual basis will pay. That travel insurance that is on flight will also respond. So that is the amount of payout. And some of these travel insurance policy may also have this feature about public conveyance, double indemnity, and things like that. So that's how the policy will respond. But in the case of, say, for example, a chartered ferry cruise tour, Star Cruise, this cruise, those are not public conveyance. But the conveyance is, for example, the ferry that traveling between Penang Island and mainland Butterworth, that is a public conveyance. Okay? So there will be differences in this area. The ferry between Kuala Kedah and Langkawi is public conveyance. Every one of the people sitting on board is a fare-paying passenger. Okay? Accidental death and permanent disablement due to terrorism. We will also have terrorism exclusion of nuclear, chemical, and biological terrorism. Is not covered. It's a standard exclusion when you have terrorism involving the use of nuclear, chemical, and biological weapons, and so forth. So whether in today's world, whether the terrorists can get hold of nuclear weapons is, I believe, is possible. So that's the capital sum insured. If it is due, for example, some years ago, there was some terrorist shooting machine gun in the Istanbul airport. Those are called as terrorist activities. Those are covered. Anything that uses nuclear, NCB, nuclear, chemical, and biological, is an exclusion. Renewal bonus, 5% up to 100%. So if it is 20-year renewal, you reach the 100%. 100% of the capital sum insured. The smaller benefits, imagine here, item is benefit number 8. Accident death due to mosquito bite. Everybody wants to know this. So the values are also there in the 4 plans. Due to mosquito bite, the benefit is stated. I will go through the benefit wording with you as we go through the respective benefits shown here. So that's number 8. Number 9, ATM withdrawal up to 1,000 ringgit. Maximum 4 incident per policy year. That means if a insured person make a claim 4 times in a year, I tell you, he's really unlucky or something fishy going on. So on renewal, company may consider acceptance renewal or not. Remember, these policies are all 12 months and renewable. The option is to renew, the company can renew, or for that fact, if the company feels otherwise, can serve notice to terminate, cancel the policy also. It is all given in the terms and conditions of the policy contract. Ambulance fees up to 500 ringgit to and from hospital. Hospital income is what you call, we share with you, a person hospitalized for 1 day, he will be having a pocket money of $100 per day. Supplement allowance, the vitamins. Inconvenience allowance, we will look at, see what is this inconvenience allowance. Before you ask the question, what is this? Let's bear with me for a while as I go into the details of this inconvenience allowance. 500 ringgit. Personal effects, I shared with you earlier, up to 1,000 ringgit. Wheelchair prosthesis purchase up to 1,000 ringgit per accident. This is permanent disablement that you need to purchase. Bereavement allowance, what is this bereavement allowance of 5,000 ringgit? And then number 17 is personal liability up to 1 million ringgit. and this will be involving compensation if the insured is liable, legally liable for damage or bodily injury. This $1 million will include litigation fees, that means the lawyer's fees involved. This one is very important that the company must be notified immediately if any opportunity that give rise to a claim of this personal liability. It's not about paying the policyholder, it's about defending the policyholders against third-party people who sue him for his legal liability, which is negligence. Due to his negligence, it causing the injury or causing a loss of damage to property. Okay, this is the option. The optional benefit I want to share with you, motorcycling extension. If it is involved in any motorcycling activities, riding as a pillion rider as well, or riding a motorcycle or has a pillion rider, the optional benefit shall pay this amount for. Otherwise, it is an exclusion in the standard part of this policy. Benefit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When we look at benefit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay, optional benefit 2 above, payout for insured between age and 70 to on renewal will be 50% of the capital sum insured. So in context of this policy, from 71 onwards, because earlier 71 to 100 is a renewal subject to company's approval. So this is the period when the sum insured is reduced by half, 50%. So when you talk about benefit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you go up to the benefit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you look down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you look at death and permanent disablement, medical expenses, and then the double indemnity, triple indemnity. So this one says 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. So 6 is terrorism. So the benefit is 50%. Okay, bear in mind this is between the age of 71 to 100. Now this is the scheduled pay amount as shown by the percentage. If it is Plan A, Plan A is 280,000, then death is paying 200 and occurring within 365 days from the date of accident. I'll explain that to you in a shortly when you look at that. 100% means the capital sum insured, percentage of capital sum insured. So when you come to partial like this, loss of 4 fingers, 40%, loss of 4 fingers and thumb and one hand, the thumb seems to have a higher percentage. So it is shown here as the nature, the descriptive of this. Loss of leg below the knee, 100%. Now, each and every policy percentage will vary from one company to another, even for the fact will vary different from one product in GE compared to another PA product. Please bear in mind that this relates to only the Great Shield Active. Okay, Great Shield Active policy benefits. Each product will have different features. Okay. Note, where a disability is not specified in the above benefit, we shall have the absolute discretion to determine the percentage. So in the event anything that happen, the disability out of what is stated above, then the negotiation between the company to determine the actual the percentage to be compensated. Okay. Now we look at the description of benefit. This is a component part that describe exactly how this one. Benefit 1 is accidental death, sustained injury, accident, dependent, independent of any other cause, independent of any other cause, it says here, insurance, insured person shall immediately cease to be enforced the policy once it happened. And here, of any other cause shall within 365 days result in accidental death. Now, in the case example, a person is a severe motor vehicle accident in a coma, admitted to hospital and in a coma for 6 months. It happens for 6 months or 3 months, then he died. Whether the cause is determined, the death is determined as from the accident, then the policy will pay within. Now, the first thing is the accident must happen during the period of insurance. The accident, date of accident within the period of insurance. From that, within the period of insurance is 365 days. Whether it does not matter whether the policy is renewed or not, but that is the duration from the date of accident. Important thing, accident happened during the period of insurance. Within 365 days, he passed away. What happens if it's after 365 days? How? So the question is, if it is after 365, it is silent, it say not paid, but effectively can be discussed with the company. There are cases where people after 1 year only pass away. But in the process of that coma, there are many cases where a person in a coma from the wound, then he may wake up from the coma. And this is one of those particular cases I've come across, that he woke up from the coma, he was recovering, regained his consciousness, but 2 months later he died. And the cause of the death was due to contracted sick-wide disease in the hospital. Now, in hospitals, hospital is a place where there are plenty of contagious diseases, all types of diseases that it's contracted. So in the process, he has contracted this supervirus and caused his lungs to fail very fast, pneumonia, and then he died because of that. And it's proven in the post-mortem that is due to that, not from the accident, but due to the pneumonia that caused his congestion and he died. Now, here, in that scenario that you look at, now put it into this definition, which solely and independently of any other cause shall within 365 days result in accidental death. So in that context, the other cause is the main cause of the death. So therefore, this is a definition of accidental death. So remember, these are the things. The words here is very clear, which solely and independently of any other cause. So effectively, in the avoidance of doubt, any amount which has been paid under benefit 2. Benefit 2 is permanent disablement. If due to benefit 2, the permanent disablement that he has paid, any what percentage, then the balance to make up the 100% of the capital sum insured, if it is partially paid under permanent disablement. Now let's look at permanent disablement, the same thing occurring, the injury. And here the words is percentage, depending on what is the injury. Maybe a loss of hand, maybe a loss of one eye, maybe a loss of one leg. And the insured person sustained an injury as a result of accident which solely and independently of any other cause shall within 365 days result in permanent disablement. The insurance shall immediately cease and enforced. Now, any other cause shall within 365 days result in permanent disablement. In avoidance, insured's age at the time of accident, that means in short, within the 365 days, that is considered as permanent disablement, there's no chance of recovery. or healing or whatever to that, then is categorized as permanently disabled. Medical expenses. Now here, medical expenses, what you do is all these are original bills are required up to the limit of $5,000 due to expect of an injury, whether the injury requires hospitalization or not. For example, a medical expenses incurred for a deep cut on the finger while doing cutting vegetables. He also cut his own hand, that kind of thing. So it requires stitches, require medical treatment, all the full set of medical treatment, maybe couple of hundreds or thousands. That is also medical expenses incurred. And here there's a qualifying, must obtain, comply with proper medical treatment and advice from a qualified within 21 days from the date of accident. Of course, in the context of injury, like what I described, a severe cut in the hand that require stitches, that will be an immediate seeking attention rate. Okay, now for those injuries that falls into the category of whether playing basketball whether playing football, accidentally twist the ankle bengkak swollen so hard that he cannot walk he can seek treatment from traditional bone setter, blah blah blah. Injury per visit $100, maximum 1,000 ringgit. So this is a provision under the policy that you can seek for alternative treatment. But of course, all this where he goes and seek treatment must be registered and legalized, registered and legal entity, not those that under the big three to do this bone setting and all that. So registered is one important part. Registered with the Ministry of Health and things like that. So there is a provision here, subject to limit $100 per visit. This category of this chiropractic, sensei, bone setter, traditional treatment. Reimbursement basis, up to a maximum of $100 per visit and up to a maximum of $1,000 per accident. Now, I want to share with you here is a different thing. In all unique basis, this is another very unique feature in the policy, cover for illness. Now, illness is never an accident under PA policy, but in the context of this Great Shield Active, they will have a provision for benefit medical expenses that covers for specifically dengue fever, malaria, Zika virus, Japanese encephalitis, yellow fever, scarlet fever, or Coxsackie. Treatment of this. Of course, there's a 30 days waiting period from the commencement date of policy. So after 30 days from the commencement date of policy, the medical expenses incurred for dengue and all this is covered up to the limit of 5,000. Very unique feature in this policy. Because you understand that these are not categorized as accidents. Okay, double indemnity. We spoke about it earlier about the conveyance, public conveyance, and the participation of public conveyance and public sports events. So these are the two very criteria in it. Benefit 4 does not apply if due to terrorism. So terrorism will be separately out. The double indemnity does not apply if it is a terrorist attack, arising out of a terrorist attack. But the capital sum insured will be paid. It does not mean the policy don't pay. The policy will pay the capital sum. But this benefit 4 and benefit 5, double indemnity and triple indemnity, shall not apply in the context of terrorism. So under this terrorism, you have a separate benefit 6, which specifically only showed the amount there. But pure exclusion into this nuclear chemical is purely excluded as well. Renewal bonus up to 5%, up to the age limit of 70, whichever comes first. 100% if you have acquired 100%, 5% a year, that means 20 years. So if you take a policy at the age of 45 up to 65, you would have agreed to get the 100% indemnity, 100% renewal bonus. Here there's a proviso. The policy must be enforced continuously for no less than 12 months. That means on renewal of the policy, then only the 5% after having earned 5% thing. Very much similar to the motor NCD. But the provision is if no claim is made under benefit 2 and 3, permanent disablement and medical expenses during each preceding 12 months of insurance, okay, that means no claim. Death, you don't have to talk. If there's a death claim, that's it, gone already. Policy also ceased to be uncovered. There's no issue of a renewal bonus. It says here, on renewal of this policy, all accumulated renewal bonus shall be forfeited. That means after a claim is paid, shall be forfeited, and the coverage under the policy shall revert to capital sum assured. That means stop renewal bonus already after the claim is paid for permanent disablement. However, if there's a claim under benefit 3 medical expenses, then on renewal of the policy, there will not be any increase. That means you have to, on renewal of the policy, the first year of renewal, it will not be paid, but subsequent, thereafter, on the subsequent renewal, the renewal bonus is entitled to, just like in the motor policy. On renewal of the motor policy, because there's a claim made under OD section, on renewal of it, there is no more NCB loss. But after the period of 12 months from then on, thereafter, then the renewal bonus will start all over again. This is how it applies. And renewal bonus is not applicable to benefit 4, 5, and 6. The one referring to double and triple indemnity and terrorist cover. You're still online? Hello, I'm talking to the laptop only, myself talking to myself, me and myself.
Yes.
And Lydia. And that gentleman who's very supportive. Thank you, sir. Now, let's look at this unique feature in this policy, death due to mosquito bite. You know, mosquito bite don't kill people. It's the virus that it carries. In the case of Aedes mosquito carrying the dengue fever virus. In the case of malaria, the Anopheles mosquito carries malaria virus that can kill. Now, very clear, specifically mentioned here, very clear, death due to mosquito bite limited to dengue fever, malaria, and Zika virus. So if any of these three, then the policy will pay. So what happens if we say, for example, anyway, COVID is not mosquito issue. So this specific three, dengue fever, malaria, and Zika virus that causes the death, the policy will pay benefit 8. So when you look at benefit 8, you go back to benefit 8 of the schedule of benefits to see what is the limit of the policy. Yes, for the sake of good order, we roll back to the benefit. Okay, benefit 8, the description is very clear, is half, 50% of the capital sum. 40,000 for plan 1, 2, 3, it goes this way. Very clear, very, very clear. I think the likelihood of common is malaria and dengue. There are people who die because of this. From this virus, dengue and malaria. So this policy is very unique, very special. That is benefit number 8. No. Number 9, ATM withdrawal. I share with you straightforward ATM withdrawal 4 times a year. Each time must report to police, then report to police of theft, and of course, a record of the withdrawal must be there from your bank account. So within 24 hours must report to police. And of course, most of these ATM machine has got CCTV. $1,000 withdrawal, whichever is lower. So what has been lost from the genuine loss from the ATM? Maybe the person withdraw $500, so that will become the $500 amount that is payable. 4 occurrence during the period insurance. Ambulance fees to and from discharge is hospitalized or discharged from the hospital. Hospital income, what I share with you very clear forward, more than 24 hours hospitalized per day, then you have the $100, $200 things. Cash allowance will be paid. Maximum 30 days. Supplement allowance, $500 per accident within 30 days from post-hospitalization. That means after discharge, post-hospitalization, recommended to take supplements to rebuild back the body health. Vitamin, multivites, vitamins specifically A, B, C, D, M, and all this. So due to an accident. Okay, $500 can buy a lot from the pharmacy. Of course, this one you need the original bills, and they said 30 days from post-hospitalization. Inconvenience allowance, you may want to know, simply means pay a lump sum more than 24 hours due to an accident. In the event of hospitalization for more than 24 hours due to an accident, you will pay a lump sum of $500 for accident as inconvenience allowance. So can you imagine if there's hospital income allowance and this allowance, each section of the benefit will compensate. Hospitalized for more than 24 hours due to an accident, pay the lump sum of $500 inconvenience allowance. So very clear. This will be on top of whatever hospital income, the earlier section. Personal effects due to snatch, theft, or robbery. Police report within 24 hours, up to 1,000 per accident. In 1 year, can have 3 accidents can happen when people's luck are down. Prosthesis or wheelchair suffers from permanent disablement due to an accident, reimburse the purchase of this up to 1,000. As recommended, it can be artificial arm, artificial legs, or crutches, or a wheelchair purchases of this nature up to $1,000. Now, bereavement allowance. Insured person's accidental death. Sum insured is payable. The death as a result of mosquito bite. Limit to dengue fever, malaria, Zika virus, Japanese encephalitis, yellow fever. Pay upon receipt, accidental death, and so forth. $5,000 as bereavement allowance is paid. Where a sum insured of accidental death is payable as a result. So in short, due to mosquito bite, dengue, there's a lump sum payment of the capital sum insured because it's stated there, and then plus this $5,000 as bereavement allowance. Specifically mentioned, limited to dengue fever, malaria, Zika virus, Japanese encephalitis, yellow fever, scarlet fever, or Kawasaki. So this is bereavement allowance is specifically for this on top of what the mosquito bite can be. Personal liability occurring anywhere in the world, excluding the United States and Canada. Now, this one is injury or death of any person or loss or damage to property belonging to another person. Now, in this context, when you use the word common law, is anybody can sue anybody. Everybody owes a duty of care, and make sure that no negligence that causes harm, injury, or loss of property to another person, not his family. So therefore, this is a liability part, personal liability of your action, not due to any other, but personally. You know, in the motor policy, section 2 is got third party liability the same way. In the process, the motor policy is using the motor policy due to his negligence causing another damage to another person's car, damage to injury to the life and all that. That will be under the motor policy liability. In this context, personal liability. Give you an example. You know, while holidaying, I was there and busy lah, talking to friends lah, you know, with the hand all over the place lah. I accidentally pushed another person who he's using his camera taking photograph. His camera pushed and his camera flew off his hand and went down the ravine in the process. He's going to hold me liable for his camera worth $30,000. That's my liability. If proven in court, you see, proven legally liability means proven that I am liable. Of course, in the process, I may deny liability, but he can still sue me for that. But the suing part must be done in Malaysia. Okay, this is a condition of the policy in liability. This is where the damage, say in the case context, the damage is the camera, $30,000 worth. He says he got proof of the receipt and all that. 30,000 is claiming against me. I'm not going to pay him. I say I got this policy. You can then proceed to let the insurance company handle it. Under this section of the policy, where in this policy it says there, jurisdiction Malaysia. What it simply means under Malaysian law, costs and expenses of litigation. Costs and expenses for litigation is the lawyer's fees, recovered from an insured person, incurred in and recoverable in Malaysia. The event happening can be anywhere in the world, but must come back to take action, sue in a Malaysian court, come to Malaysia and sue. This is the condition of the policy. So there's a limit of $1 million in this context. Okay. Then the other scenario of an example of bodily injury. I'm holding the umbrella. You know, all men umbrella is pointed on. So holding the umbrella, accidentally I poke somebody in the eye and the pedestrian on the road in Malaysia. Poke it. And unfortunately, in that process, I blinded the person. And he can then sue me as personal injury under personal liability. Injury or death to any person. Okay, if I cause the death of another person, his next of kin is going to sue me. This is personal liability. Now, remember, whether the person is covered by any policy or not, he is personally liable. You can sue him for bankruptcy. If he cannot pay, you go to a court and there's a maximum you can go to, sue him for bankruptcy. That you don't get anything, but at least you get a satisfaction or the full cost of the justice is implanted because of his negligence. Okay? The important part of this condition is Malaysia court, jurisdiction in Malaysia. Of course, in this section there will be certain amount of liable will not pay for liability assumed, will not pay for insured due to insured profession or occupation or business. Is purely his individual activity that he is legally liable for that action or negligence. Optional benefit. Now, I said to you about optional benefit, weekly benefit. I won't go into detail, but let's look at motorcycling. Why I said it's very important, because in this policy, it is not standard cover. Motorcycling is not standard. You must extend. I give you an example here. This You may have your insured as high-end net income, rich people riding big motorcycles, correct? Harley Davidsons, the big motorbikes, the big CC that he use it for his weekend. He love motorcycling. He use it for his weekend. Buy this. Must always please include this extension in this policy. Otherwise, it's a standard exclusion. Now let's look at it, see how what it says. Whether has a rider or pillion rider, and provided at the time of the accident, the insured person is wearing a safety helmet. Of course, that's a condition. If it is extension, he must be wearing a safety helmet. But in the context of the accident, he said the helmet flew away. Also can. But the question is, must have this extension, and the rider must possess a valid driving license. Valid driving license, the car license and motorcycle license is two different things. I still have my motorcycle license. I can ride. Why? Because share with you this experience. I go to Bali holiday. I rent a motorcycle to ride around. What happens if I don't have this extension and something happened to me then? Of course, my travel insurance say will pay, but this policy, tada. So it's always advisable to include. This is where the application of know your customer, which Elias spoke to you earlier, is knowing his other activities other than how many wives you have. You don't need to know lah. The rest of the thing is activities like, for example, he's in the extra hobby of hunting, extra hobby of scuba diving, riding big bikes, motorcycles. So you need to know this, because then only you can have the policy, ensuring the policy adequately cover him against such so-called hazardous activities. But in this policy of the Great Shield Active, motorcycling, I repeat, motorcycling is a standard exclusion. So put in this motorcycling extension. I mean, other than being knocked down by a motorcyclist is different. Now let's go to extensions of recovery. The policies are there. Now you have seen this policy even extended further to cover circumstances like disappearance clause. A person's body cannot be found. After 365 days, they'll pay the claim. For example, MH370, nobody can know, none of the bodies are found, but after a period of 1 year, they paid all the claims. Those who are insured, whether it's travel insurance or whether they have their own personal policy like this Great Shield Extra, Active Shield cover, they have this. After 365 days, the body cannot be found. And it's not only that aeroplane, it can be in the sea or natural disasters. For example, like landslip, it happened in Malaysia. The body can never be found. It's all buried. Is the person really dead? But it says after 365 days, the policy will pay. But if after that it is discovered that the person is still alive, then the right is payment shall be immediately returned to us. So this will be another hoo-ha tussle area. There are some known cases which happen that whether actually the person died or don't die. There's one case some years ago. I think it's by the name of suicide or something like that. So the lawyer who helped the wife process get an insurance company helping him to process everything. The insurance company paid the claim. One fine day, the lawyer was holidaying in India, saw the Israel. Whether it's that person or not, the lawyer felt very wrong. He came back and reported, and then after that, they tried to locate. It disappeared again. So this is where the same policies are very fair. It says out such things. It says such things. It doesn't mean after paying the company don't recover. If the person has elements of fraud, like I always used to say, as long as there's insurance, there will be bound to be fraud. Whether it's fraud in totality or exaggerated claims, whether if the medical bills or medical bills is $1,000, exaggerate the claim to 10,000, 5,000 claims bills and all this, very common. Next one is exposure clause. Exposure simply means exposure to the elements of nature. They primarily frost lah, desert heat lah, and exposure to nature that the person did not die because of the accident, but exposed to being frozen to death or heat wave to death in the desert in the accident that for example, very simple example, coming down from Genting in the middle of the night, the car fell into the ravine. He didn't die, but legs, hand broken, so nobody, no aid come to him. Overnight, he's too cold and he froze to death. He didn't freeze to death, but too cold. In the context where he's in a winter area, or person in having an accident, no help came to him, exposed to snow, exposed to the ice, he freeze to death. That is means by exposure of the elements of nature is covered because of the accident. Can happen or not? Holidaying in, for example, holidaying in Inner Mongolia or holidaying in Sahara Desert or Saudi Desert. Suddenly there's an accident and nobody knows he's missing and he's left in the desert. The heat alone, you die of exhaustion, dehydration. Because his accident, he couldn't move, he couldn't do that. That is what it means by exposure clause. Exposure to the elements of nature, resulting in the insured person's death. Harmful insect snake bite extend to cover insured person's death, permanent disablement, and or medical expenses arising from harmful insect, snakes, and animal bites. It's covered, harmful insects, snakes. Have you all ever, do you know a huge python can swallow a human? I have seen a photograph of this when I was in Sabah. Swallow the human adult. Snakes, python, animal bites, and in process, dogs, a Rottweiler that jump out from the neighbor's house and they can kill because these dogs are so fierce that they go for the neck of a child, a person, can kill that. That is animal bite. But of course, in the context of that, the person, the neighbor, whoever owner of the dog will be sued as well. But in the PA policy, we have this extension: harmful insects, snakes, animal bites, clause. It provides the cover, extended to cover. Unprovoked murder is what you call, is always unprovoked. The person who caused the fight, the person who caused the injury is unprovoked. Being attacked and killed by, say, for example, a motorcyclist gang. Hijacking clause will include those when the process, hijacking of the aeroplane, hijacking of a ferry boat or whatever, as long as the insured is a ticket holding passenger traveling the aircraft, and all this in the event of that can lead to death. Even in the context of, say, for example, a robbery in a bank, the robbers, the unfortunate incidents of the customers are being rounded as hostage, that is also covered. If that accidental gas, smoke, fume, inhalation, drowning, and food poisoning clause. You see, even food poisoning, eat food, die poisoning, but it must be proven that the food poisons die out of it. Insured person against death or permanent disablement. Accidental gas, accidental, there are cases where people put the pipe in the gas of the car and stick in the car. That is committing suicide. It's not covered. Accidental gas. So sometimes in those kind of gas leakage or manhole leakage, the gas can be very toxic and inhaling can kill. Usually this drowning is straightforward. Gas inhalation will take some time. Food poisoning too. But food poisoning is a severe kind of thing. If it is accidentally ingested cyanide, that is accident. If we purposely inject, then he ingests or digest, put in cyanide into his body, that is attempted murder. Attempted suicide is not covered. Now, let's look at this important part of intoxication clause. Death or permanent disablement as a result of intoxication by alcohol, except where the insured person is a driver intoxicated by alcohol as provided under the law. Under the law means when a person is breathalyzer, the amount, the level of alcohol in the bloodstream shall determine whether he breaks the law. Driver, so in the context of driving and is above the level limit that he died, the policy won't pay. But in the context of this, of course, passenger is not driver, so it's okay. So in the context of this, all these Chinese dinners I've seen, we all know, everybody want to be hero, drink, lim, 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 the ego is so big that I can drink more than you, I will make you collapse, fall down on the floor, this and that, all this talk, ego, that hero, always. So after drinking so much, he walked down the staircase, he rolled down the staircase, his head hit against the concrete and died. Covered or not? Yes, it's covered. Drinking so much, then he walked across to an open car park. The open car park had to cross the drain. He could not see the drain. He boom, bam, fall into the drain. The drain is deep up to the neck, fractured his head and died. That is also covered. As long as he's driving only. Natural disaster. So this relates back to the extension of cover in the policy, or the whole thing, that is accidental death and permanent disablement. So we have got here, the next one is natural disaster, tsunami, all this you can never find the body, earthquake, volcanic eruption, lightning, very common. That's why always people say in open area, don't ever stand under the train, don't ever stand under the tree in a rain thunderstorm. First thing to strike, kena. You strike the tree, the electric shock circuit, kena, die. Very severe, the body will burn, charcoal. Hurricane, cyclone, all this, tidal wave, and all this has happened. Now, I think was about 2 weeks ago, some severe typhoon that hit Hong Kong, southern China, Hainan Island. For example, if the person is insured, is holidaying there and get killed due to this typhoon, that he wants to see whether he can walk crossing the road in the strong winds, that he is killed, not by the wind, by flying objects that is carried by the wind. That is part of the natural disaster clause. Important thing is to don't be exposed to it, the dangers. Right, strike and civil commotion, not as a participant, so you will cover that. Any questions so far? Very quiet the whole afternoon. Any areas that you want me to clarify? Please tell me. Very quiet, leh. Hello? Are you still there?
Still here.
Still here.
Tak ada apa ke?
Tak ada
Tak ada, dalam chat box pun tak ada.
Apa ni, ada orang dengar atau switch on komputer pergi jalan-jalan. Right. The show goes on, okay? I will just continue to cover the aspect of it. Now, when we look at every policy, well, there's exclusions. And these exclusions is also importantly stated there. Very clear. Nuclear war, consequent of war, invasion, blah, blah, blah. Nuclear weapons, material, radiation, all this, anything that is pure exclusion. Any nuclear, chemical, biological terrorism, out. This is pure exclusion. The whole policy does not cover. Now let's look at this part. This is the part where it talks about extra activities, sporting activities, as what you call a social activity by the insured person. Water sports, when it says winter sports, sorry, not water sports, winter sports, it's not covered. Ice hockey, sea angling means go out to sea fishing, is not covered. Boating or yachting beyond 5 kilometers off the coastline, I think it's fair. 5 kilometers is a long way off the coast. So if you're doing this activity within the coastline of 5 kilometers, is covered. Scuba diving, unless the insured person is a member of a recognized diving club, holds a valid diving license, or diving under the guidance of a professional diving instructor, is out. So as long as is in this category of not falling into this exclusion, is covered. In all contexts, a person has an activity or diving, you will have to go through the first basics, professional guidance, and diving together in pairs together with the professional diving instructor. That's the part of it. Polo, horseback playing, steeplechase, boxing. Boxing is not covered. MMA, martial arts, wrestling, go-karting, parachuting, hang gliding, skydiving, bare hand rock, or cliff hanging, cliff scaling is not covered. Hunting outside the territory limits of Malaysia, okay lah. Hunting in within Malaysia must be in within Malaysia. If hunting in Indonesia, not covered. Hunting in Brunei, not covered. Hunting is never allowed in Singapore. So Singapore got no jungle for you to hunt. So other than they are licensed to be hunting. But in Malaysia only is covered. Motorsports rallies, speed testing, reliability tests, racing of any kind other than on foot, professional or semi-professional sports is not involved. So running on foot is covered. Flying or any aerial activity other than as a fare-paying passenger in an aircraft provided and operated by airline. Now, this is an area I would like you to understand. There are plenty of flying clubs in Malaysia, whether it's in Penang, Subang, even Johor Bahru. Now, this is the sports and activities of the high-end net worth people, the richer customers. Riding big bikes, riding flying, license to fly as a hobby, flying aircraft. If you know your customers are such hobby, please submit and reach out to insurance company, inform them of such an activity, because this is an exclusion. You won't want your customer, if you know that his hobby is to weekend flying in a small aeroplane, it's not covered. Please bear that in mind, and should reach out to the insurance company underwriters that he has such an hobby, and probably with that they may accept with the loading this activity, and they will put it, if they accept this as a hobby, then they'll put it in the schedule of the policy as exclusion 8B is considered waived. The kind of things are, please understand, because you do need to know that sometimes your customers, you need to know your customers' activities, extra hobbies that you may have. Next one, conditions. Now, I want to share with you change in risk or eligibility. Change in risk means a person who's residing in Malaysia, suddenly he migrated to whichever country, Australia, whatever. Please inform the insurance company whether cover or not. Because in technicality, that's a change in risk. Whether he changes occupation or changes profession from a lower risk to a higher risk, that's very more important. It's more important in that way than from a higher risk to a lower risk. For example, a logistic lorry driver that involved in sending, now he's the boss, he don't drive anymore. So his risk is better, but it's also good to inform the insurance company so that the appropriate rate can be reduced to the better risk. So this is very important. And the same thing I mentioned about the executive handling administrative work, part-time Grab driving. This is where the things need to be informed. And this is not just per se at renewal. It got to be during the currency or the policy, the changes. Please inform the insurance company. Of course, sometimes you may not be informed by the insured or you are not aware of that. So what does the policy say? If there is a change in risk at any time of accident giving rise to a claim on a policy, we have not received, that means the company has not received prior notification of such change, we shall reserve the right, 1, A, refuse the claim. B, reduce the claim amount payable proportionally by the percentage difference in the premium charge under the policy. This is a very good clause that leaves the negotiation open rather than outright don't pay. So if you do have such cases that come across such event, please persuade and negotiate and persuade the company to look at B. Means to say between the premium of the higher risk and the lower risk, to use a percentage to knock off the claim amount that is shown. So therefore, this is a very good policy that leaves a room for negotiation or this compensation there. B is very important. However, if the insured person occupation is changed from an excluded to an excluded occupation, means to say a declined occupation that the company has done from there, then the policy will be null and void. Okay? These are conditions provided into the policy. Understand it? Bear that in mind if you come across this, go on this particular condition in the policy. Once a policy is declared null and void, means no valid, the policy won't pay, won't respond, there's no liability. But of course, in the process, when a company declared that the policy null, they have to put the reason and citing whichever clause in the policy, null and void, because his occupation is now, for example, from handling, conveyancing executive, he's now a professional diver or stevedoring, diving in shipbuilding. That one is out of the question because it's an excluded risk. Now, every time, whenever, wherever there is insurance, there's bound to be fraud. In the process, fraud will never be paid. Refuse the claim and cancel the policy or do both, the company will do that. Now, when it comes to fraud, there's elements of totally what you call bluffing in the claim or those exaggerated claim from $1,000 exaggerated claim. If there's one example I share with you, which I shared this morning, the person was is blinded in one eye. He applied to buy PA but did not declare. The amount maybe I think was about $2 million capital sum insured. 6 months down the road, he had an accident. He said crash and the impact of it smashed the eye. All medical evidence prove that the eye is blinded in one eye. Okay, so all the medical evidence blinded in one eye. The company sent adjuster because it's not a small amount to send adjuster to investigate his claim. The adjuster was smart enough because he was from another town. So they went to the town and then tried to, I think, so he met up with people who knows him in the past. We call him One Eye Jack because he's blinded in one eye. That one information came out, they found out he is actually blinded in one eye already before he buy the policy. So null and void, repudiate the claim. And of course, they have to find all the proof to say that, yes, he's blinded in one eye. So these are the cases where we talk about disclosure issues. Of course, there is this thing called deliberate, reckless misrepresentation, non-disclosure, intentionally not disclosing proper facts, this and that. you know. So pre-contract representation is very important to determine the policy to be null and void. Now, every contract, whether it's tenancy agreement or any contract, there is bound to be this escape clause or cancellation, serving notice to terminate the policy, cancelling the policy on whichever part. The company has got a right to serve notice to terminate the policy. The insured person has the right to serve notice to terminate the policy. Whatever balance in premium is here, if it has after 2 months, 70% will be refunded. After 8 months, there's no more refund. This is called short period rate refund. The other refund which is used is prorated refund. So prorated refund is higher refund amount, but this is in the policy. This is the context of the refund period. Making a claim, all claims you can make within 30 days, submission of all original bills, even for the context of death claim. Okay. Now, here I have highlighted some of the important areas. If the insured person is required to undergo any medical examination at our expense, meaning to say if the company needs that further medical, the company will pay for that requirement that the company wants. In the case of accidental death, entitled to expense to conduct post-mortem examination where it's not prohibited by law. Now, post-mortem examinations are very relevant key towards determining the exact nature of cause of death. Now, you know of this prominent case about the child being deaf, and then they did now they're doing they exhume the body up and do a post-mortem to look at what the dead concussion and all that. So this is the ongoing case, which is very highly profile case in Sabah. Post-mortem report is required. So by law, by religion, no issue. You still have to do this post-mortem. I mean, you look at it, is so many people, we don't believe, well, post-mortem must cut up the body, after die also cut up the body. But effectively for a claim, if you're looking at an amount, anytime there's compensation, the company reserves the right to require post-mortem, because only from the post-mortem report can actually determine the cause of death. I want to share with you here the important about another very, very, very salient and very important feature on this policy, very special, unique. In the event of a dispute of the cause of the insured's death that is not resulting solely from any accident, but may be caused by the insured's underlying medical condition, we shall only pay 25% of the capital sum insured. Now, the example I can cite to you is, now, everybody wake up in the middle of the night, go to toilet, pee, fall down, says, fall down. Now, in the toilet, everything is concrete and hard. So when the process of falling down, you hit the concrete and all that, then die. So the claim submitted is fall down, accidentally fall down your toilet. Now, you and I know, if you look at the toilet, your toilet, in the middle of the night, everything is no longer wet on the floor. What happened is stroke. Okay, and if the post-mortem report reveals that he's because of stroke that caused him to fall down, because of stroke. Now, his is the underlying condition, medical condition is a known fact. Underlying medical condition is hypertension, high blood pressure, this and that. And when we sleeping, when we get up, we have to make sure we sit down for a couple of minutes before we actually get up to the toilet, because the blood just rush down to the lower part, the head goes giddy, goes lightheaded. No, the blood goes down when you immediately stand up, and that's where it causes the stroke and cause the kill death. In that kind of situation, death, the company will pay 20%. I tell you, this is the very good clause of the policy, very good feature in the policy. Now, can you imagine 25% and 0% if it is disproven medically that it's a stroke that caused the death? Because it's an underlying health condition, medical condition. 25%, if you're talking about plan Plan 7 now 1.38 million, the capital sum insured. 25% is 300,000 at least, Very good feature in the product. That is death. Now, the second one here, in the event of a dispute in the death, the insured person is permanently disabled. Permanently disabled is not death. That is not resulting solely from an accident and may be caused by insured person's underlying condition. Now, this condition, I give you the example, is diabetic. Now, after the accident, okay, there's an accident. He had an accident in the leg. Any normal healthy person would recover, would get well. Because he's diabetic, the wound cannot heal, cannot this and that, is because of the diabetic condition, ultimately resulting in amputation of the leg. That is not due to accident. That is amputation is due to diabetic condition of the patient's underlying medical condition. The claim shall not be payable. No claim shall be payable in this context. So death and permanent disablement, very good clause. Very clear. The second one is also very clear. The first one is also very, 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 very good feature of the policy. Now, this is in the conditions of the policy of this Great Shield Active. Okay, payment of benefit payable will be either nomination or the legal representative, like I shared with you earlier about wife on the life of the husband. There must be insurable interest. Once the wife divorces, the wife cannot be the policyholder already because there's no longer any insurable interest. Not only wife, the husband, the same thing. Okay. So, but then nomination form is different. Nominated, if William divorce is still nominated as a person. Auto renewal of this product feature is there, and cash before cover commence, there must be cash payment paid to the policy. GST is now 8%. Sanction limitation exclusion clause don't apply, or rather it applies because every policy must put this in, sanctioned by United Nations, not this United USA, Donald Duck sanction this, sanction that, the kind of things. So that is the scenario of the world. And in every policy in Malaysia, all in Malaysian ringgit, okay, and there will always be this complaint. And every insurance company or banks must have a division of handling complaints. You can write in to complain whether the policy is slow, whether the policy is not fair, whether the policy is that. And then the other dispute response to complaint, there's an ombudsman of financial services or bank negara. So the complaints can be there. Disputes on this contract can also be raised there. However, after the finding of this, if the insured is still not happy, he can take this case up to the court of law. In the court case, he got to get his lawyer to fight his case, got to fight all this. It takes a longer time. That is the dispute and the contract of insurance between the insured and the insurer. Details of all this information is here. Even address, name to the person. Phone numbers, contact numbers are all here. Given out in detail, full detail, nothing to hide, transparent to share with the insured if he's got any disputes. That is no. And that, my friend, ends the subject on the technical aspect of the policy detail, combing the policy details for your benefit. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask. Leah, anything?
No, nothing.
One of my, I don't know how to say it's best session, one of my most quiet sessions I ever handled. Right, I move on,
Yes.
Yes, sir? Is there a question?
No.
Okay, at least you speak up. Now, this year is 117th anniversary of GE, and this one of these products in the campaign period that they're doing this campaign is working well. Let's look at the campaign, and I'm sure you would know this by now. Customers protection is part of the law against accident rate. Not to say against accident rate, it's the compensation. The accidents and then the risks are getting higher, so therefore get protected. In the context of this campaign period, the customers, anybody aged between 40 and below, 30% premium discount off the book rate, of the brochure rate. Very good. For 40%, 40 years and below, for those in the bracket of 41 to 50, 20% premium rate discount on the first year that is buying in. Okay, so this is what the campaign period rolls out. Any other terms and conditions that you wish to know, please reach out to your company, to your representative, to your marketeers and things like that to have more details. I think it's a damn good thing. And for you all agents out there, if you do within this, take advantage of this benefit during the campaign period, take advantage of this 30% off. Not only that, without a discount, this is a very good product. Not because GE pays me to talk, but fact is I've seen enough policies, gone through policy conditions of many. This is by and large, I'm very, very surprised by the benefits in the policy. First year, 30% discount, age 40 and below. All the plans anywhere that goes. Campaign period, 26th of August launch to 31st of January. So the period of insurance must commence within this campaign period. So 31st of January, still got 3-4 months to go. And for those agents, I would urge you to pick up a policy if you do not have one. This is a very good PA policy. For me, I don't qualify anymore because they out of the eligible age bracket already. Great Shield Active is one of the product, and this eligible for the scenario of campaign. This is the leaflet. I believe you have got a copy of this to supplement the product disclosure sheet saying what are the benefits of this policy. And of course, the other one that you look at is Home 360 is another cover for the home content and things like that. So we're looking at Great Shield Active policy. Terms and condition of the campaign, very simple. And we come to the end of the show, and now the end is near. Any questions, my friends? Aliyah,
Yes.
None from the chat.
kesian saya ni. Anything you would like to add on, Aliyah?
Hmm,
Do you have anything to
add up
add up or not? I will
wrap up.
wrap up.
About the CPD points and all these things that you may want them to do, or maybe any conduct any survey on the forms and things like
Yes,
that.
Yes, yes. Okay.
So
So
Thank you so much.
I want to say, I want to say all thank you and all this to y'all to be in participation with me today. I wish you the best of luck. This year is coming soon. Best of everything. And remember, You've got another 2 years, another 2 months or so to achieve your CPD points, whether it's life, general, or unit trust, or whatnot, or takaful. You're doing all these need the CPD points requirements. Please fulfill it, and I wish you the best. And that's all. Thank you. Bye bye, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much, Mr. Koo,
Welcome.
for a very very interesting sharing regarding racial
Thank
active
you.
lifestyle protection.
Were you sleepy?
And also, I would like to thank all